Good day. My name is David Wild, and this is the first part of a three-part lecture on Chapter 13 on Teams and Teamwork from Connect Master Management 2.0. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe groups and teams in organizations, to distinguish between the four major attributes of teams. You'll be able to analyze how team structure impacts team effectiveness. You'll be able to distinguish between the various types of teamwork, team attitudes, and team knowledge. You'll be able to distinguish between four ways that team effectiveness can be managed, and you'll be able to recommend remedies for teamwork challenges using the four ways of managing team effectiveness. Now, we'll begin at the beginning with the basic question of what is a team? A team consists of two or more people who work interdependently to achieve goals related to a common purpose. Now, how do you distinguish between teams and groups? Teams accomplish work, complete projects, make decisions, engage in competitions and expeditions, and even save lives. To understand the distinction between groups and teams, consider that a group refers to a set of individuals who are together or share some common attribute, such as standing together at a crosswalk. A team consists of individuals who must work together to complete a specific task or sets of tasks that no single individual in the group could do as effectively on their own. This distinction is important because the act of working together to achieve a common work goal creates dynamics that need to be considered in managing people and teams. Why do we care about teams? Most organizations today rely on teams to accomplish various aspects of work. Most employees have jobs that require them to work in at least one team for at least one part of their job. The prevalence of teams and organizations might not be surprising to you students with work experience or with career aspirations that involve jobs in which you spend the majority of your time working with other employees in ongoing teams. So in summary on what is a team, a group refers to a set of individuals who are together or share some common attribute. In contrast, a team consists of two or more people in an organization who work together to achieve goals related to a common purpose. Teams are a special type of group. Team members are charged with a specific task. There is a specific outcome associated with that task, and team members carry out the work needed to complete the task by working with one another. In organizations, teams carry out core work that must be accomplished to produce goods and services. They make important decisions on an ongoing basis to support the accomplishment of the work, and they form to accomplish specific one-time tasks. Most employees work in a team setting for at least part of their workday, and managing teams can be filled with challenges, and often is. Now, let's talk about team attributes and types of teams. There are many different types of teams. This is important because the factors that determine team success often depend on the type of team in question. It is useful to consider a small set of defining team attributes, which together may be useful in describing every conceivable team. Researchers have shown that these attributes include temporal stability, authority differentiation, skill differentiation, and virtual presence. Temporal stability is the degree to which a team has a history and a future and consistent membership over time. A traditional work team would be said to have a high level of temporal stability, whereas an action team that is together for a short period of time working on a complex task would be thought of as having a low level of temporal stability. Authority differentiation is the degree to which formal authority is shared among members or rests with a formal, recognized leader. A hierarchical decision-making team in which members make individual recommendations to a leader responsible for making the final team decision would be said to have a high level of authority differentiation, whereas self-managed teams, which take complete responsibility for a task, including how to organize themselves and how to make decisions, would be said to have a low level of authority differentiation. Skill differentiation is the degree to which team members possess distinguishable skill sets. Cross-functional teams, composed of members of different departments within an organization who possess different types of skills, would be said to have a high level of skill differentiation, whereas teams whose members possess similar types of skills and are largely interchangeable would be said to have a low level of skill differentiation. Virtual presence is the degree to which team members' interaction occurs face-to-face or virtually through some electronic means. Project teams with highly specialized members who interact through electronic collaboration technologies and rarely, if ever, meet in person would be said to have a high level of virtual presence. Sports teams who perform their roles and interact together in person, in contrast, would be said to have a low level of virtual presence. Now, let's talk about different types of teams. Traditional work teams are ongoing teams with stable membership that produce goods or provide services for the organization. Generally, membership in a traditional work team is a full-time job. That is, employees work with the same group of individuals for the majority of each and every workday. Action teams refer to teams of highly specialized members that function together for brief periods of time on complex, unpredictable, and highly visible tasks. They provide good examples of teams with low temporal stability. Hierarchical decision-making teams consist of team members who consider a problem and then make individual recommendations to a leader who is ultimately responsible for making the final team decision. In contrast to hierarchical decision-making teams, authority differentiation is much lower in self-managing teams, which are teams that take complete responsibility for a task, including how to organize themselves and make decisions. Cross-functional teams are composed of members from different functional areas or departments in an organization. These teams are created to solve problems or to complete a project where integration and coordination among functional areas or departments are needed. In contrast to cross-functional teams, behavioral teams refer to groups of individuals that perform straightforward and routine production tasks requiring very little thought and interaction among members to produce output and to achieve goals. Sports teams typically have a low degree of virtual presence. Members of these teams perform their roles and interact together in person to participate in competitions in which there are winners and losers. In contrast, many organizations use project teams that interact virtually through email and other electronic collaboration technologies. Project teams are charged with the responsibility of producing a one-time deliverable. So in summary, on team attributes and types, the length of a team's lifespan can vary depending on the tasks they need to accomplish. The defined hierarchy of the team structure, or whether the team is self-managed, the unique sets of skills possessed by certain members, or whether members are substitutable for one another, and the degree to which work is done virtually rather than face-to-face. These are the four major attributes of teams. And with that, we'll end the first part of our three-part lecture on the chapter on teams and teamwork from Connect Master Management 2.0.